This is Kendall Wood on February 26, 2018 with a video demonstration on the ringless voicemail drop solution developed and deployed on my own API endpoint hosted on Windows Azure as indicated by the post URL string in Postman. We will be using Postman for the duration of this demonstration for all API requests. As you can see here, the API request looks similar as it has in the past, with the exception of one new API parameter, which is called API method. This method accepts two values, value A or value B. This particular parameter was instituted to fulfill the buyer's requirements in regards to developing a solution with a fallback method in case the primary ringless voicemail drop solution fails. And so in this case, if the API parameter in the request is set to A, the primary method is used. This is the ringless, the true ringless solution. And if it's set to B, we utilize the double call method versus the server to server method across all four carriers. Now, method B can and should be expected to show missed calls or experience partial rings, etc. So the API method B should only be used as a fallback method only. So turning your attention to the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you will see that I have 4 wireless devices. Each of these devices belong to one of the top 4 carriers, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And we're going to first do a quick audit on these phones to ensure that I'm not cheating as I go about doing the individual API requests and performing the ringless voicemail drop to each of these devices. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show that the volume is all the way up so that if it were to ring, you would hear it, but also that there are no recent calls in the call log as well as no voice messages in the voicemail inbox. And then after successfully completing the drops, we'll come back and re-audit these phones and we will see the results. So starting with the Sprint device, you can see the volume is 100%. If I go to phone, the last call was at, I'm not sure if you can see that, 6:11 p.m. is currently 7:48 p.m. And the voicemail inbox shows that the last voicemail message that came in was February 12th. Setting that device down, we'll move to the next device, which is T-Mobile. And I will show you that the volume is all the way up. There are no current calls in the voice log, and there are no new messages in the voicemail inbox. The next device is with AT&T. Volume is 100%. No missed calls in the call log. No voicemails in the voicemail inbox. The fourth and final device is Verizon. And as you can see, we have no recent calls in the call log. The volume is 100%, and there are no voice messages in the voicemail inbox. Now, turn your attention back to the API request. We're going to send a request to each of the 4 devices or each of the 4 carriers, the first one being Sprint, as you can see in the response that has returned from my API. Next, we're going to do Verizon. And you can hear the Sprint one just came in. This one was Verizon. This one was for New Singular Wireless, otherwise known as AT&T. And the last one is T-Mobile. And you can see in the response, T-Mobile USA Incorporated. So now we're just going to wait for a couple moments to give there's another one just came in. I think that was 2 out of the 4. There's 3 out of the 4, and we're waiting for one more. But while we're waiting for that one to come in, I'll go ahead and start doing the secondary audit of the phones to demonstrate that the ringless voicemail drop occurred. So starting with Verizon, as you can see here, let me jump out and come back in. I go into the phone. You can see here in the voicemail log, there was the 4th one. In the voicemail log here, you can see that there's actually a entry into the phone log. However, it is simply, for this particular device, it shows a entry when the voicemail comes in. And so that's why you have a little play emblem on the far right here. So it just shows that a voicemail came in. And if I hit that, I can jump right into the voicemail inbox here, and you can see the actual message itself. So for Verizon, we've dropped that ringless voicemail drop 100% successfully without leaving a new missed call entry in the call log or ringing the phone. Next, looking at AT&T, we're going to first look at the call log, and there are no new calls in the call log. We then look at our visual voicemail inbox, and we see one new message in the visual voicemail inbox. Moving to T-Mobile, we look at the call log, and we have no new entries in the call log. And looking in the visual voicemail inbox, we have one new message. And then lastly, we have Sprint. Oops, that needs my thumbprint. And as you can see here, if I go to the phone call log, the last call is still 6:11 p.m. So no new calls. It is currently 7:53. And if I go to my voicemail inbox, I have one new message at the top of the list there. So that shows that we have successfully dropped a ringless voicemail message to each of the top 4 carriers with this particular ringless voicemail drop API solution.